you might be sitting on green gold, which is obviously land that we can build on. Chop it up. Not in my backyard. This video today is all about the team and what they will do when in the subdividing process. Keep watching to the end and I'll tell you the best thing I've learned when it comes to picking your subdivision team. We're standing right on the fence line of what used to be a front yard of a rear lot, and we've built a brand new 130 square meter 3-bedroom home. So the boys are inside jibbing. This is going to be a 3-part series all about subdividing your section, the process, who you need in your team, what gets done when the builder gets stuck in, what we need to do before we can get stuck in. Shall we pedal back and talk about subdivisions in general? So subdividing is when you take one section and you chop it into parcels. One of the reasons that's become popular here in New Zealand is that as our cities have grown out, to counteract urban sprawl, what they're doing is promoting intensification or development closer to the city centres. So there's a few key people you're going to need to start with. You're going to need a designer, you're going to need a surveyor, and you're going to need a planner. Those are your 3 key people that will get your resource consent started. Now there's 2 types of consents. There's resource consent and building consent. Resource consent is all about how you use the land wisely, ethically, and how we are good stewards of the land. And so the resource consent application is all about showing your local council how you are going to follow the Resource Consent Act to split your land into 2. The Resource Consent Act, combined with your local council's rules, will dictate how much you can chop your land up into. So, for example, up until recently here in Upper Hutt, 850 square metres was the minimum lot size you needed to subdivide, but recently they have changed those rules in certain areas, so now there's sections in the centre of Upper Hutt where there are only 600 square metres and we can now get 4 units on them, whereas previously it would have only been 1 section. So we're turning 1 lot into 4 lots. Essentially we're creating 3 new homes. Government at a broad level and then local Upper Hutt City Council, Lower Hutt City Council have created rules to encourage this kind of growth. That's their way of tackling the housing crisis. So the resource consent is kind of handled by those 3 people. The designer will do what's called a scheme plan, and they do like an overview of the site and how are you going to meet all the setback rules and where's the bulk of the buildings going to go. And then your surveyor will do a topo, and they will also locate services, and they will define the exact boundaries of the site and if there's any like topographical conditions. That comes out as a survey report that the designer will use to design. Today we are doing a DIY topo. And then the planner takes the surveyor's survey and the designer's design and writes a report and ties all that together and then submits that to council. So that is all to do with the resource consent, and that all needs to happen before on this side of the fence, me, the builder, can do a building consent to build the homes. If you're new to the channel, we've been documenting some of the subdividables over the last year, and we've got this one here, the Birchall job, we've got the Papakofi job, and we've got 2 jobs going in Lower Hutt. Now, they're all using a variety of people, but there's some common themes in there. Most of my houses, the designer is Prime Designs, but there's also a couple of other designers that I use. I use Dave and I can use Fran, and the Waifa 2 house has been done by Design Network, and for all intents and purposes, they all do a similar job. 2 things you'll need to resolve with
in the house, right? But it feels like there won't be that much room in the middle of the below, but actually, can we find a way to put, like that
exact even sharpening on the side?
and that's comfortable.
That wouldn't be okay. On a large majority of my jobs, I use the survey company here in Upper Hutt, owned and run by Kate and Alan. They're great guys and they do a good job. And I have also used Lucas Serve on the Waifatu houses and the Papakowhai house. For the planner, the main people that we use is James and Jamie at Urban Edge, but your surveyor or your designer may have their own contacts that they prefer to use. And I think one thing I've learned is you find one key person, whether it's the surveyor or the designer, and they will drive the resource consent for you. So kind of decide early on. For the resource consent side, who is your key contact? Is it the surveyor or is it the designer? Let them use their network and their trusted contacts to drive your process through. So then you're probably thinking, who is the project manager? Now, when we use the survey company, they take care of a lot of the details behind the scenes for us. But on the Papakowhai job and the Waifatu job, the owner is the developer and he or she is driving that project through. And so I think that's one of the first things you need to realize is, as the owner of the land that's being subdivided, you are the developer and we are working for you. And so it's really important that your team of people, from the builder to the planner and the designer and the surveyor, are all working together for the common good. The discussions at this stage with myself and those people will be relatively broad level, like what sort of home can we build, and we'll look at if there's some specific building problems to resolve on site, we can give our input. Otherwise, we kind of let the team get on with their bit for that stage. Got my wife calling, I better answer that. Yo, Kate, I'm just on camera. Okay, I'll call you later, eh? Okay, love you. So first big step of subdividable is getting resource consent. As soon as resource consent's approved, you then need your subdivision team to get to work on site. Now this would normally include a drain layer. You'd use a company like North Power, Chorus. Basically, we're getting all of the services to the edge of the boundary. There might be some demolition involved, and we did that on the Lower Hutt house. And on the Waifatu house, we also picked up and moved the house to the back. And we're going to do this on 2 more subdividables next year. So I suppose that's phase 2. So in the next video, let's talk about the services and the team that does that and everything that needs to happen on site before us, the builders, can come and build your homes. Early on, you want to get a team that you connect and gel with well. You want to gauge, like, are the people that you're working with responding in a timely manner? The resource consent side of things is literally like a 6 to 9 month process, but it can blow out to be 12 months, 15 months plus if each person doesn't do their bit when they say they're going to do it. So think really hard and kind of be real selective with who you're using at the start. And sometimes it's not down to who's the cheapest, but who's going to get you to the end result in the best manner. Not only who's the best price, but who's the most reliable, who's the best communicator, who gets back to you when they say they're going to get back to you. Kind of look at some of those other things. It's not just about cost. Kind of weigh up some of those secondary tangible measures on whether that's a good person to be in your subdivision team. Boom, the video's over, let's go.